pull up, because maybe there's just something I'm not seeing in terms of my proposed commit. Maybe people see something that I'm not. I know Zed, you saw it for the Kubernetes community to get the Slack channel created. But it looks to me,
Yeah, it seemed fine. You passed the CLA and stuff, so I'm not sure why it's not been merged. Maybe just pop in the Slack admins channel on the Kubernetes Slack. You can just maybe bump it there, and they might take a look, because I think that's where everyone is who can actually approve stuff.
what's the channel?
Slack admins in the Kubernetes
Slack
Slack.
admins. Okay.
Yeah, it's like they've just got a little meta channel for managing the Slack.
Okay. Yeah, because it's odd. I mean, and I did ping the 2 reviewers that were listed. I mean, I guess I could request new reviewers, but it's pretty straightforward. I don't know why. Because if I look at
Very
for folks that
controversial,
don't know what
apparently.
we're talking about, let me put this in the meeting notes here. Agenda, let's see. So channel request. And for folks that don't know, you make a request on the apparently the community, Kubernetes community is one repo, and Slack is like one part of that, and they use a management tool to
I mean, it's Kubernetes. Of course, Slack is managed through GitOps and YAML. Like,
yeah, it is. But usually then there would be enough automation to like let it go through, but it's for some reason it's still requesting. And I think part of it is that I've never committed directly to the Kubernetes community repo before, so I'm not actually a developer on it yet. So that's part of it. If anyone else is and has access to approve that, by all means. Okay, so I did add the link to that for the Slack channel request. And for folks that weren't here, that don't know what we're talking, well, here, let me go ahead and get started. Welcome, folks, to the OKD Community Development Meeting for January 23rd of the year 2023. And we are going to jump right into things, talking about the Slack channel. And I'll share my screen here in 1 second. Let me get everything arranged here. Okay, so this. Okay, if I share my screen. So to get a Slack channel created, you go to the Kubernetes community repo. And so I've got, you change a file that basically just says create this. So I created the channel name and did my easy CLA with the Linux Foundation. And then it requests to have review. And then I asked 5 days ago, hey, can I get a review? Because it's been, a week now and no response. So I'm not sure, looking through this is all waiting for the review before these are gonna, yeah, because it needs to be approved and looks good to me labels. So is anyone seeing anything different here? Is there anything I'm missing that I didn't do? Just a learning experience for me since I've never done this before.
Maybe mention someone. Oh, you did.
Well, I did. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Okay.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, then I guess I'll pop into the Kubernetes Slack admins channel as suggested by Zed and say, hey, can someone take a look at this?
Or the contributors.
So contributors is just me. I mean, it's just this.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. What I meant is in the Kubernetes Slack in the contributors. Sorry. In the Kubernetes Slack, there's a group. There's like for community outreach. It's like let's see, it's got a funny name. it's basically people who care
There's a
about.
Slack channel specifically for code contributions in the community?
No. It's sorry. It's the Slack channel for people who want to encourage folks to contribute.
Oh, okay.
So, because the admins are busy, but the contributor, oh, let's see, it's
Yeah, I would
called,
think that the ad, that's, I wouldn't, my initial thing wouldn't be the admins. Let's see, where can
I'll look for it. It's called,
let's see,
let's see.
browse all
I don't,
channels. That's what I'm looking for.
don't worry, I'll look it up.
Okay. All
But there's a
right.
bunch of people who are like, interested in making sure that folks like us get help.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because if we could get that through, then we could really get conversations going on the operators project. That would be like super helpful. Does anyone have any thoughts about what we could do in the meantime in terms of communication? I mean, I guess we could, well, even if we did
I don't think it'll take any more than a couple of days to get the channel sorted. So I don't think it really warrants us getting a plan B to just move on.
I just want to be sure that folks aren't getting held back from.
No, it's all right. I've been quite busy anyway, so I've not done anything on the operators. So
okay, yeah.
It's called sig-contrib X. Contrib EX.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to type this into our meeting notes here. So it's, say it one more time.
Sig dash, oh wait, I got it. I'll copy it in.
Yeah, just if you
sig
could.
dash contrib EX.
Okay. Okay. All right. And so since our operators folks are, well, let me ask this, Luigi, is there anything that you can add to the discussion about our operators project right now? No one's really had any time to work on anything, so.
Yeah, no, I think we've also haven't even looked at the pipeline again. I know Bruce mentioned there was maybe a problem with it. So it's just been hectic outside. So
yeah,
I haven't had a chance, but we'll definitely set some time aside just to make sure everything's working as the README says it should.
yeah, and there was, I don't know if folks saw this, there was a question in the OpenShift Slack about will OKD on SCOS have that same testing process for FCOS, meaning testing different FCOS images and different FCOS releases in the streams. And so we might want to write an answer up about that and put it in the frequently asked questions, because that's going to be an obvious question that people are going to ask, like,
yeah,
have that same cadence,
Yeah, and it's the same thing about the FCOS pipeline. In other words, doing what we've done with SCOS, but with using SCOS from scratch, build it, and then and build a whole OKD version on. So I think that's something. Yeah, Christian was saying it's definitely something we should be looking at long term, though, because it took us a while with SCOS.
Right. Well, I'll get some placeholders in the FAQ going for some of these questions.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah. Oh, and one thing that popped up, I don't know if anyone caught this in the OpenShift channel. Someone pointed out, and I checked, and they're correct. The hashes, the SHA-256 hashes are wrong for a lot of files in the OKD releases on FCOS. And so I actually opened up a bug, and I don't know if, let me see if Vadim has responded to it yet, but it's like random. It's like a particular artifact will have the right checksum. And then it'll, in the next release, it'll have the wrong checksum. So this is, I'll share my screen. So just so folks can see what's going on. So you're aware, because this is going to be something that, I mean, we really should address, because I mean, we don't want people not being able to verify the release artifacts. So, you know, if you look at the SHA-256 sum text and you actually do the math on it by running the command, sometimes it's correct, like in this case for 414 from January 6th, and in other cases, like 413 from June of last year, it's actually not right. And so this was pointed out by a user who was actually checking them. Now I know a lot of people don't necessarily check checksums, but it's one of those things where it makes us look kind of amateurish, you know, to not have these correct, right? And it's a security issue, right? Because then we can't verify. Users can't verify that they're getting the right artifacts.
It's also definitely an issue if our CI pipelines are giving one hash, and then when you're downloading them, if it's doing another, then something's definitely gone a bit wrong.
Right. Yeah. So
Where do you know where they're generated? I thought, because it's Vadim who does all of the releasing for OKD, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
those are
that's done internally on Prowl.
proud.
So
Yeah.
internal Prowl, yeah.
And I tried to look for any type of attributes, like, oh, was it just the ARM binaries? Was it just and there was no consistency to it. It's just completely random, seemingly. Anyway, so anyway, just want to make folks aware of that. So we should definitely, you know, if I don't hear anything from Vadim by maybe Wednesday or so, unless he's on PTO or something, then I'll reach out to him. Just because it would be good to get this resolved.
Has anyone checked the OpenShift bundles?
No, that's a good point, though. That would be interesting to actually check that. Yeah. All right.
Well, if it's a problem in the OpenShift ones, then Red Hat will probably be more keen to priority fix it.
Yeah, I don't think so, because it's a completely separate pipeline in Prow, if I remember correctly, because that pipeline has to do the assembling of the FCOS image, the special assembling of the FCOS image and stuff like that, I think. Because no, that's right. It pulls a default one, and then that is, well, no, that's right. It gets assembled with that pipeline, the special image. So, okay. Next up is, or no, actually, the installer downloads the plain vanilla FCOS and then modifies it afterwards. So it's still probably a unique pipeline. I'm pretty sure it is a unique pipeline end to end.
Yeah, because I think there's, just on that, Jamie, I think there's also some external RPMs that get added to it as well.
Right.
I'm thinking like Cryo, Hypershift. I think there's one or two others that get added that aren't. And so there's, so basically what it is, there is some meddling with the original stuff. So
yeah,
I would imagine somewhere in that process, when they're adding and they're rebuilding, they're getting the SHA SHs wrong. But yeah, it's a good thing to, you're right, you know, you're building something, let's make sure those little nitty-gritties are sorted. Yeah.
Great. Let's move on now to the well, let's skip the operators project stuff in total because Brian isn't here. He said he might be able to make it 30 minutes in, but we'll see. So let's go to the project board and see what we can strategize on.
Jamie?
Yeah.
Could I have just a quick discussion on the operators thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Go right ahead.
Yeah. Because after I went through and looked at Zach's fork, the and tried to play with that with sort of mixed success. Um, Part of my difficulty was sheer stupidity, but because he just forked everything and didn't change the README at all. I started out with, it says, okay, so download this Git repository. So I do cut, paste, clone, and without looking at it, and I pulled down the original repository, which of course didn't take me much of anywhere. But
Sorry.
once I actually read, then that helped me a bit. But because like the original repository hasn't been touched for a long time, and there are missing folders and things like that, so that it definitely doesn't work. So it might be useful to get a pull request to the original repository that makes it a little bit closer to something that actually people would have a chance to replicate.
Yeah. So I think it was just that Owen and I who are kind of hacking on that upstream operators organization just didn't have access to the OKD project when we were doing that over Christmas. And so I think now we've been added to the OKD project, we'll create a branch inside that and kind of do it in there. So you're right. Yeah, we were literally just kind of hacking on it together as a little pair duo. So external contributors probably would have had quite a hard time to pick up on it, which we know we need to sort out.
Yeah, well, I guess what I'm hoping that I'm suggesting wouldn't be a huge amount of work.
No, we can definitely merge it into the OKD project repos. It's just we only got access to it in the last community development meeting.
Right.
And yeah.
Or at least on your repo, which you graciously gave me the link to, update the README that has some relevance to
Yeah. Okay.
your actual projects, because there are a lot of things. I mean, there's a lot of folders that you could try, none of which actually work. And
yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, I'll I think we will be kind of looking at the project again in the next couple of weeks. So we'll try and get something slightly nicer.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to probably be playing with it in the interim, but anyway, so thank you for your contribution for sure. Okay, Jamie, thanks.
Excellent. All right, let me share my screen here. And sorry about the recording stop start. I accidentally hit the button there. All right. So here we go. We can skip these for now, these two. I have not seen him at any of our meetings the past couple of weeks. So Dwayne is sort of MIA right now, but I can reach to him on OpenShift Commons. I see him on there. Let me reach out to him and see if he still wants to sort of head this up, or what the scoop is in terms of the Fedora messaging stuff. Backlog, no motion on this. Contact. So I guess it's not clear if he was going to reach out or he expected me to reach out. Let me find out from him if he was going to set it up or if he wanted me to. And I don't know much. Does anyone know much about Scupper? I don't know much about it. I've not worked with it, so. Okay, ready. Let's look at write up project board guidelines. We don't have much motion on that right now because everybody's been sort of getting access to the projects as developers, basically. So we've just been sort of giving people access as developers, and I think there's only one person that we didn't put directly as a developer, but we need. At this point, I think we can probably come up with some guidelines. I don't want to make it too rigid, right? We don't want to make it too rigid for people to contribute, but that's something that we can work on. Man, there's a lot of stuff that we just got to figure out who can do it. Home landing page, Brian has worked on that. And so I think we just need to provide some feedback. Investigate available tutorials, right? And so Dwayne set this up. And I think we need to do a refresh. So we looked for tutorials earlier on. We've got some here. Oh, you provided a comment, man. Okay, cool. So Blaze provided a comment here. Does anyone have any qualms about us just creating a page with these that Benjamin searched out? Or sorry, Dwayne, I always see his name and I always say, but as that Dwayne searched out and just throwing these on a page and then yearly putting into our calendar that we revisit and see if they're valid.
I think that's a great starting point.
What do we want to call that page on the site? What do we call it? External resources, external tutorials? What would we call it?
Yeah, or just maybe is there a getting started guide?
There is a getting started guide, but it needs some work. So,
okay.
You know, because one of the issues we had is because there's so many flavors basically. And,
yeah, no kidding.
You know, UPI, IPI.
I totally get it.
You know,
Yeah.
bare metal, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
And there's also a getting started-ish type thing on the README on the GitHub repo as well. So what are thoughts? Can we move forward with this? And
external is fine. Yeah, external, sure.
Okay. Any thoughts for name suggestions? I'm throwing out external resources, but anyone else have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, external resources dash YMMV.
I like it. External. All right, let me put this in here. External resources. Your mileage may vary. Yes. All right, and we'll move forward with that. Either Brian or anyone else. Does anyone else have any interest in actually doing web page creation? Because we've got a couple things that are waiting and just need to have pages created for them. The process is outlined. Brian created a guide for actually creating pages. We just need some folks to step up and help create some web pages from some of these content things.
Oh, I don't mind taking a look at it. I mean, I suck at HTML layout, but if it's just like a Antora ASCII doc,
It's exactly
fine.
That's exactly what it is.
That's my bag, baby.
Okay, cool. All right. So then let's actually what I'll do is I think I've got yours. I think we've been slacking back and forth once or twice. So
yeah. I'm not hard to find.
Right. So I'll find you and point you to Brian's. Well, actually, if you go to the OKD website and go under documentation, there should be a page there or a sentence or two about how you actually can create pages. Pretty sure he put it up there at this point. Excellent. So let's move this to in progress. It's nice to see things moving. All right, so this is in progress. Draft, what is OKD of the getting started guide? They haven't shown up in the past couple meetings. We'll have to find out where they are. Community virtual meeting to help community catalog of operators for Operator Hub. We were going to do that after the Slack channel is created. So this one's sort of blocked by the Slack channel. CRC, I think you were going to reach out, Luigi, to see if you could touch base with the CRC folks. I don't know if you've had a chance yet or not.
No, I haven't. So,
okay.
But yeah, I'll follow up on that. I'll make a note.
Okay. I mean, I'm happy to. Again, I did a long time ago and didn't hear anything back. But if you want me to take it, just tell me who to talk to. So, you know, it's up to you.
What's that? What is that item? You can already run OKD on CRC, can't you?
Yeah. So the gist of it is that we wanted to take ownership of CRC. I had messaged because what it was is that OpenShift engineering, OCP engineering was cutting the CRC releases for OKD as well as OCP. they were running into this was early last year, if not the year, but late fall of 2022, a certificate issue where there was a certificate expiring in the installer, and they would have to do a rebuild and blah, blah, blah. And we said, well, I messaged them and said, well, hey, we're happy to get involved and take over ownership of the build. I didn't hear anything back. So now we need Luigi to maybe reach out to get that, communications channel going, because we're happy to do it so that we have a CRC, or what the OCP equivalent now is, what's it called? OpenShift.
I think it's OpenShift local, or isn't it?
Yes, OpenShift local. That's it. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we want to be able to provide this for folks, because we get asked about it occasionally. If it's just running a pipeline to build and making sure that certificate is updated regularly every however long, it'd be good to provide it so folks can just spin up, CRC on their local machines and have an OKD running. So, all right. Okay. So yeah, that has an update. All right. So I'm actually going to say,
So just, if you don't mind, Jamie, just add a note there. Yeah.
which I always forget, which one is it? Your middle name or
That's
not?
the
Your
LM. Yeah, the LM.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the red hat one. The other one is my private.
Okay. There we go. Okay, cool. And let's see, where are we here? CRC. Define and document community processes using projects in GitLab. That's sort of connected to the one couple above. We haven't done that yet. I don't know that there's been any movement on it. I'm just about ready with the calendar, and we'll provide it to folks probably at the next community meeting, and that might inform this. So we'll have the calendar to be like, okay, we need to every year do these particular things, and then one of those would be documenting process for getting involved in the community, and yearly reviewing who has access so that we don't get cruft of membership in the repos. That's one thing that I think we definitely want to do. Homepage, no movement on that. And there probably won't be. Add latest news section of the homepage. This we haven't moved on yet, because I think we were kind of waiting on this. Reach out to volunteers. There's 2 people that I did have conversations with that are in the OpenShift channel that are interested in getting involved. One of the people can't make it because our meeting time is like 6 p.m. and he has family obligations, but he's already looking at items on the planning board and interested in getting involved. The other person I haven't heard back from yet after I responded to them. So we actually have a couple of people that are going to start participating. We have to figure out how to communicate to people who aren't able to attend the meetings but want to participate, and maybe that Slack channel will be a good way to do that, right?
Yeah, Slack channels
the
are usually
OKD
really good for asynchronous.
Yeah, for sure. So I would say that this is in progress, actually, because I have been, and I'll put the names of the people in that after this meeting. Review license and copyright requirements. That's something I think that Brian hasn't had a chance to do, and I think Luigi, you were going to reach out.
Yeah. It's what's her name? Corinne Engel. Yeah. So basically, she just said, send us the template that you have, and she'll have a look at it, because obviously she's going to look at it with Diane. But I think we got sort of mixed up in the in who's going to send her the template, because I must be honest, I don't know where that template is.
Yeah, I don't. That's a good question, because I don't as well. There's a bunch of stuff that's I need to hunt down, like, so presentation templates, for example. It's different, like the text, like, are we still allowed to use the Red Hat font on our things or not? There's some things that are a little bit unclear, so we'll have to gather a list of those. So, okay, good
The
to
Red
know.
Hat font is open source.
Is it? Okay.
Yes,
Wasn't sure. Okay.
Rocky Linux is using it.
Of course. Okay, and create a blog post for current OKD roadmap. We were going to talk to Christian about that, but he's been unavailable and Vadim has been unavailable. So I don't know. I think we have to really nail everybody down for a meeting. So in February, when things calm down, let me put this, I'll put a note in here. We'll schedule meeting in February with all parties. Because we need to have a unified vision, right? Like I understand, Luigi, you talk to Christian, Christian talks to Vadim, Vadim talks to, it would be nice to actually have a unified.
All in one.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Investigate available tutorials for setting up OKD to determine if we have good options to refer per people. This is another Dwayne one. So I think we'll have to wait and see. Review survey responses. I shared that out to Brian. We haven't really discussed them. And someone reached out to me about the survey. And I didn't quite understand their question, so I need to respond to them and find out. But we're about ready to get the next survey done in February. If anyone wants to chip in on that, let me know. Because at this point, it makes sense to get the survey out earlier in the cycle to find out what people want in the community and then sort of make our yearly plan based on that. And I'm sort of breezing through these. If anyone has anything you want to chip in or say, by all means.
Jamie, go ahead and add me on the survey because I'm the one who analyzed the data on it anyways.
Okay, cool. All right, remind me. Well, actually, I'll add you up here.
Yeah, and we still have to fix it because you are two-factor auth, so it has to be spots with 2 Z's.
Oh, right. And did I add both accounts or no?
No, just the non two-factor auth one.
Oh,
My
all right. Well, then
one.
I won't be able to. Yeah, all right. I'll make sure that we get that squared away. Sorry about that.
Okay.
For
No
some
problem.
reason, everyone has 2, so I sometimes get. Okay, where were we here? We did invite CERN to provide a presentation. He hasn't been in any of the meetings recently, but invite OKD CERN collaboration on OKD using Scupper. A lot of these got created and a lot of these got added for Scupper, but Dwayne's not here to sort of lead us into what he was thinking about Scupper, so I guess we'll have to wait on that. Single node installer documentation using the assisted installer. Andrea hasn't been at our past couple meetings, so we'll ping him and see what the scoop is on that. Because I think he was actually going to be the one to write it once they got past that one, but which they did, but I haven't heard anything beyond that. They got through that last bug, but that's the last I heard. And then define a calendar process. That's what I've been working on the past couple weeks. Almost done with it. Video series. Can we publish these now? We at least have the FCOS ones. Does it make sense to at least get the FCOS ones out the door so that we can start the video series? We've been waiting for everybody, but at this point, the videos are done. And I just need to clean them up and add the OKD intro. Are we fine with just moving forward and starting to publish the video series, creating a web page and adding these to it? Anyone?
Yeah, no objections from my side, I think.
All right. Objections, thoughts, concerns? And for folks that aren't aware, this is the videos. We have a whole series of topics that are like butane and ignition. What is FCOS? build modifications, SCOS build, and there is this video here. And then, right, here's the ABI that Andrea was going to do. We didn't have anyone on MCO yet. Elmika was going to see if anyone would be on the MCO team would be interested in doing it for us. And then Elmika was going to work with me on must gather and then troubleshooting essentials. So Elmika's been like super busy the past like 2 months. So we're kind of on hold for these, but I think at least if we do the ignition, butane, and then the FCOS, SCOS ones, that gets us started. So, all right, hearing no complaints or concerns, I'll go ahead and add the intro to both of these and publish them up on the YouTube channel. And then, you know, Blaze, if you could, I'll reach out to you about making a web page that links to those for the video series. And so we're just calling it the OKD Foundations video series. The idea is to give users all the foundational knowledge they need to understand the basics of OKD. And so, you know, super simple stuff, just linking to YouTube. And by the way, speaking of YouTube, I don't know if anyone noticed, but I did this morning's post the first community meeting of 2024. Tomorrow I'll post last week's working group meeting, and then the day after I'll post this meeting. So I'm back to regularly posting YouTube videos. I got my videos set up back in order. And that's it. In review is remove the supports. Michael is here. So this is perfect. Okay, so we need to, okay. I've completed a review of the OCP. Michael, you want to just, instead of me reading your words, you want to just let us know what you came up with on this? You're muted. Hello. Oh, we don't hear you. Still don't hear you. Nope. I don't think it's the muting. I think it's something else.
Hello?
There we go. Yep.
Oh, so I went through the support book and just executed whatever tasks I could on, in an OKD environment, and that's what I came up with. And commented out and used diff-defs to get rid of stuff we couldn't do. And now I have this PR, but I don't know how to get it kind of reviewed by the team because all of our preview is internal to Red Hat only. So that little table of contents, I did a little screenshot to kind of show what's there.
So
but beyond, I'm sure.
Yeah. How could we do this? Michael, what do you think is the best way to move forward on having the ability to preview stuff and have a process that's not having to copy and paste? Could we clone the docs repo? Should we clone the docs repo and just try to sync it occasionally? Or
I thought Elmika come up with a way of running this locally. So
he did, but no one's actually tried it that I'm aware of. So
I think that's the only option we've got is we can clone the proposed sort of branch, build it locally. That means we can then preview it locally. I think that's the only option we've got.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has anyone actually tried it since he brought it to our since he documented it and brought it to our attention? Because I haven't actually tried it or done it. So Blaze, you're muted.
You know where it lives?
I think I missed that meeting because I'm in general, I'm interested in building stuff locally. So I'm happy to give it a try.
Okay. Yeah, there's a write-up that Elmico did of how to clone the docs, build it locally, build the product, the Red Hat provided product docs, build it locally, preview it, and then make a merge request back.
Okay.
Yeah. So
That would be great. And there's probably a note in the meeting minutes.
yeah, I'll see if I can find it where it is in the meeting.
I can look through it. Yeah. If I can't
Okay,
find it, I'll let
great.
you know.
Great.
No.
We've been so short on people that, when someone comes to us with something,
I
it's been
totally
hard
get it.
for just myself or Brian or Luigi or Bruce to follow up. So the more people we can have help, that'd be awesome. Very awesome.
It does look like the PR has a Netlify app linked to it in the Red Hat docs one, but it seems to build the Red Hat product version of the docs rather than the OKD version of the docs. And I'm like, is it possible? Could that just be like a CI fix in the repo to build the OKD version if it gets a tag or something? I don't know. Just obviously it's a bit of a faff for everyone to get it working locally, and it does look like Netlify. They've got a CI system on the repo, so I'm looking at it now, and it's got one for the PR. And I don't work for Red Hat, so I definitely don't have access to the internal ones.
I'm under the impression there's some cost involved with getting it to build.
Okay, fair.
Maybe I have a server. We could, if we need a community server, I've got stuff in my garage that we could leverage. Doesn't belong to anyone.
Well, let's see what we come up with.
Of course.
Yeah. Let me get that info to you. Let me find it if you can't find it. But let me get that info for you on building locally the docs, and then previewing it. And let me see. I'm checking one thing real quick before we. Okay, which one is this? I'm checking which one that. Okay, and in terms of docs, Peter Roth, the person who got back to me that's really excited about contributing to OKD, he's looking at number 27, installing OpenShift on a single node instruction in the user docs. So he expressed interest in that one as well. So Blaze, maybe you and Peter, can't make the meetings, but is interested in participating, could do work on 27 together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the single node one. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, and Brian has a link to the docs page there for OKD docs. All right. Sounds like we have some good directions, in particular with docs. And Brian, I don't know that there's anything you want to add in terms of the operator stuff. No one else really had any changes to mention. Folks have been kind of busy with other stuff. And we had a discussion about the fact that the merge request that I created with the Kubernetes community repo hasn't gotten sign off yet, so our channel hasn't been created yet. But Blaze was so kind to actually ping folks in Slack who might know and tag me. I appreciate that. That's very helpful, super helpful. So Brian, anything else? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm noodling around with at the minute is a config file that can be parsed by a Tecton task that would then kick off the builds of all of the pieces and also then apply patches. So that's what I've been working on, just noodling around, just whether it's best to have one config file or a config file for each section, how we would arrange that in Git repos. So I'm been playing around with that to see what makes sense in terms of if you put everything in one file, then you do a lot of work for each Git commit because you don't know what's there, versus a an explosion of very small Git repos doing one tiny little thing, which doesn't seem very sort of appropriate. So, but I have a problem. I don't have an OKD cluster at the minute because I was using Rev and that won't work with the latest one. So I've got to go and actually build myself a bare metal cluster.
Brian, maybe
Yep.
maybe you and I should talk a little bit offline, because it might be possible to just run all of this stuff, have Tecton run a Dagger client.
I've got a local build for Tecton just running on bare Kubernetes, but obviously to test it, we will need to test it on an OKD cluster.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that with the Dagger client, you could build an OKD cluster in the job.
Oh,
I know it's a little mind-blowing if you haven't seen it before, but
no, well, we were
the
actually
Dagger guys
talking
do this all the
about that.
time. They
Yeah.
run Kubernetes tests by building Kubernetes inside the Dagger, using the Dagger client.
Yeah, we were talking about that 2 weeks ago about the testing, because it's very clear that as we get on with this, we're going to have to do exactly that, and nobody
Yeah.
really had an idea on how to do that. So yes, I'm very interested in having that conversation.
Yeah. Solomon did a demo of that in the Dagger community meeting a few months ago, and it was a mystic experience to see it happen.
Do we actually need the SNO stuff working before that will work for OKD? Because I'm aware that we seem to have this sort of dependency chain.
Oh, not at all. No, not at all. You can think of the Dagger client as basically being, I sort of jokingly call it OpenShift for the rest of us. In other words, you can use it you can pull in containers, you can pull in images, excuse me, even like official Red Hat images, because all it's doing is it's kind of remote controlling the Docker runtime with whatever language SDK you happen to have. So if you're writing in Go or JavaScript, or you can basically say, from Quay.io, pull this in, and then so you don't necessarily have to start bare metal.
Okay.
I do, because that's what I do, but you could start with whatever you want. You could start with Windows.
Yeah, I mean, I guess as long as we have an environment that's representative of a production build of OKD and
Sure.
the security context and the OLM and all of the other pieces,
Yeah.
so we know that the test is valid on a production build of the thing. Yeah, but yeah, I'm very, very interested in learning how to do that. Yes.
So does Dagger support basically standing up a temporary OKD cluster to run integration test songs? That's, I think, what we were talking about, because we need to test the transition. If you install a cluster, does it then
Yeah, that would be the
requisite resources?
that's the strategy that I'm suggesting. And that would certainly work, assuming we have access to images that work in the first place.
Yeah, it's a quite resource intensive, I guess, but
Oh, well.
still need the hardware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no free lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, all the images are there. They're all in key.io. I mean, all the OKD images are freely available, and we should be able to do the Fedora or the CentOS Stream version.
Yeah,
they're all there in the public domain. So, yeah,
we can chat a little bit about that.
Yeah,
if you like.
This is cool. Can I suggest that chat happen once the Slack channel gets created, just so, because it sounds like, Zed, you look like you're kind of interested in it. I know I'm interested in it, so it'd be interesting for that to actually happen in a community space. I mean, not to discourage you by all means, but if you don't mind repeating yourself, it would be nice for that discussion.
Yeah, no, of course, for sure. Yeah.
Visible to everybody.
There are OpenShift users. Excuse me. There are OpenShift users in the Dagger Discord. So there's certainly I don't know, at least a dozen or so people who have varying degrees of experience doing this already.
I mean, would it make sense to say 2 weeks' time, we take 3/4 of this meeting to actually run through a setup of an OKD environment within that Dagger technology?
Yeah.
Jamie, does that sound?
That sounds reasonable to me. I think we have enough interest in this group. I would be interested. Anyone else interested in taking meeting time for Dagger? Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
sounds
at
good.
least 3 people, 4 people. Yeah. All right. That's good.
I mean, just keep in mind, Zed's absolutely right. You do need a lot of hardware,
Sure.
I have
right?
that.
I mean, I don't care because I've got a lot of hardware, but you know,
I
you
have
do
the
need
hardware. I don't have the hypervisor that OKD now supports.
Oh no. Oh, well, you would if you had Dagger.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's
So
the
it
whole
makes
point of
sense.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Very cool. Is there anything else that folks want to talk about? And I'll reach out to folks and let you know as soon as that channel is created. I'll invite you to it. I'm assuming we'll get a response pretty quickly on that. Anything else that folks want to talk about in the last few minutes?
I have a shameless plug. I don't have very much employment at the moment. So if anybody knows of, if there are any projects out there that need someone, who's got friends in low places and knows how to make things happen, just let me know.
Sure. And what are your areas of specialty?
Mostly sort of DevOps related stuff with
Okay.
InfoSec. Actually, maybe InfoSec first and DevOps second. But anyway, yeah, Python especially. If any development is required, Python would be my preferred. And
All right.
and of course documentation, automation.
Sure. All right. Anything else that folks want to talk about?
Just a reminder that OKD will be at FOSDEM. I put a link to the sign up sheet. If you're going to be there, we could use the help. I did make a sign. I made 2 banners, one for RDO, one for OKD. They both have the mascots on them. And then these have the icon. So the OKD icon that I grabbed off of the website. And then it says Kubernetes by the CentOS community. And the other one says OpenShift, OpenStack by the CentOS community, being that it is the CentOS booth. But if anyone's going to be there, please join us. It'll be a good time. On Thursday, and it will be live streamed. I think it's Thursday. They will be demonstrating how to install RDO on top of OKD. And that will be recorded and that will end up on YouTube.
Fantastic. All right. Anything else that folks want to mention? All right, let's call it then, and stay tuned for channel updates. I'll invite everyone to the OKD Dev channel as soon as it gets created. And hopefully we can move forward with that. Thanks for
And
all of the super contributions. Yeah.
just so everyone knows, I'll be in Brussels and coming back from Brussels the next 2 meetings.
Okay.
So I'll miss the technical meeting and this meeting.
Okay. Well, we look forward to having you back when you do get back, and thank you for all your hard work.
You're
and helping us
welcome.
promote.
Yeah.
Take care, all.
See you. All right, folks.
Guys,
See you.
See ya.
cheers, but
Bye, Ray.
thank you.